All right, so these notes are going to cover volume and surface area. Okay, so we're going to use formula sheets, but you don't have to memorize the formulas. You'll always be given a formula sheet. So we'll go ahead and start with volume. Volume describes how much a container can, it's a little smaller, hold. So if you think of like a water bottle or a soup can or a soda can, anything that goes inside an object is talking about volume. So like how much water can fit into a water bottle or even a pool. Okay, so when we're talking about how much water do you think can fill a pool, we're referring to volume. So the inside of an object or how much an object can hold. Another example would be like how much cereal you can fit into a cereal box. Number 2, volume can be found for a rectangular prism or a cylinder. This right here is a rectangular prism. It's basically a rectangle with the length and the width, and then we add on the height. So you see one rectangle at the bottom, but volume is a 3D shape, so it's going to be 3D, so there is a height. When we talk about a formula for volume, it's volume equals length times width times height. Okay, so the length is going to be, or the L is going to be your length, excuse me. The W is going to be your width, and the H is your height. On the formula where it says volume equals length and then the dot W dot H, remember that those dots mean multiplication. All right, so number 7, find the volume of this rectangular prism. So our formula again is volume equals length times width times height. So I want you to go ahead and decide what is your length and your width and your height. So it doesn't really matter which ones you pick, which is a great thing for here. So I could say that my length is 6, my width is 3, and my height is 4. If you picked your length as 3 and your height as 6 and your width is 4, we would get the same answer. So as long as you are notating which ones you pick as which, you'll be fine. Okay, so then we've got the length is 6. Okay, so I'm going to put that in for length. I'm substituting in. We know L is 6. Well, here's L. We're going to put it in our first parenthesis. Okay, then we're looking for W. Well, W is 3, so we're going to plug 3 in. And then we're looking for H. H is the height is 4. Okay, so then you're going to go ahead and multiply all 3 of those numbers. I want you to do that on your own and then write down the answer. Okay, you should get 72 centimeters cubed once you multiply all of those numbers. Okay, number 8 is for you to try, as well as number 9. So once you do 8 and 9, please stop and get it checked. So pause the video now, work out number 8 and 9, and then raise your hand. Okay, the next page. We're going to talk about volume for a cylinder. So a cylinder is like this. It's like a soup can, a soda can, a candle, something with a circle on the top or the bottom, and this is your formula right here. We will always use 3.14 for pi. Okay, there's a pi button on your calculator, but don't use it. R stands for radius. And the radius is halfway across the circle. So this right here is my radius. Important to note. The H stands for height. And the D stands for diameter. Okay, so whereas radius is halfway across, diameter is all the way across. Sometimes in the problem, they're not going to give you the radius. They'll give you the diameter. But if you look at the formula, R is called for in the formula, not diameter. So we have to figure out what the diameter is if they give it, or what the radius is if they only give us the diameter. So if you look at 14a, it says if the diameter equals 10, we will cut it in half to find the radius. So if the diameter is 10, we will cut it in half, meaning divide by 2. So we would get 5. The radius would be 5. 14b, find the radius if the diameter is 14. Okay, I want you to try that one on your own. I'm not going to tell you the answer, so pause the video. And when you find the radius if the diameter is 14, raise your hand and get it checked. So your diameter is 14, but I want to know what the radius is. All right, now we'll find the volume of the cylinder. So here's my formula, volume equals pi r squared h. So let's take a look at our cylinder. Where's the radius? Well, the radius is halfway across. So this is my r right here, 8 centimeters. The height is how tall the object is. So that's 15. So pi would be 3.14. Okay, your radius is 8. Notice that we have to square it because that's part of the formula. And then my h is 15. My height is 15. So I'm just taking the letters and putting them in each spot. So again, I'm going to copy down 3.14 because next I want to square the 8. What is 8 squared? 8 squared means 8 times 8. Do that in your calculator and see what you get. So we should get 64. And then we'll bring down our 15. Okay, go ahead and multiply those all out and see what you get. You should get 2,000. Oh, not 2,000. Just kidding. You should get 3,014.4. Okay. Find the volume of the cylinder. I will start you off on this one. I want you to finish it. I'm going to start you off on it because if you look at the cylinder, they give you the diameter. It's going all the way across, but we just need to know halfway across. So if the diameter is 10, what is the radius? Because we need to find r for radius. Well, we're going to do 10, again, divided by, cut in half, divided by 2. So my r would be 5. Okay, so when you plug in r, it's got to be 5 squared. Okay, and we've got 3.14, and the height is 6. Okay, so go ahead and solve that one, and solve 17. Pause the video, please, so you can work out 16 and 17. When you're done, raise your hand, and I'll come check. All right, moving on to surface area. Surface area describes the sum of the surfaces of an object. It has to be a 3D object. So a key word for surface area would be cover. Like how much wrapping paper it takes to cover a gift. So our formula for surface area is a little bit more complicated than volume. It looks a little bit longer, right? Volume is length times width times height. But this one has 3 different parts, okay? So as long as we keep those 3 different parts separate, all will be fine. So here's my same rectangular prism from the earlier problem. We're labeling our length, our width, and our height. Okay, now I'm going to take that formula, 2 times length times width, plus 2 times length times height, plus 2 times width times height, and plug in each of the numbers. So my length, it says, is 6. My width is 3. Okay, plus 2. Now I'm on length. Length is 6. Now I'm on height. Height is 4. Plus 2 times the width is 3, and the height is 4. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply the 3 numbers of each part together and then add them all up. So I'm going to do 2 times 6 times 3, and that would give me 36. Then I'll do 2 times 6 times 4, and that would be 48. And 2 times 3 times 4, and that would be 24. Make sure that's a 4, not an 8 or a 9. Okay? If we add all those up, we'll get the surface area of the rectangular prism. So 36 plus 48 plus 24 will give me 108 centimeters squared. Cool. Moving on, find the surface area of this rectangular prism. So again, I've got my length, I've got my width, I got my height. Okay, I'll go ahead and start putting them in for you, and then I want you to finish it out. So we've got 2 times length. The length is 25, and the width is 20. Then we've got plus 2 times length. Again, 25. Height, 4. Oops. Plus 2 times the width is 20, and the height is 4. Go ahead and on your own multiply those 3 together and then add them all up. Okay, so I want you to finish 21, and I want you to also do 22 on your own. Once you're done with those, raise your hand and I'll come check. Please pause the video now. Okay, moving on to the final one, the formula for surface area of a cylinder. Again, a little bit more involved than the volume formula. 2 times pi times radius squared plus 2 times pi times radius times height. So again, my radius is still 8 in this problem and my height is still 15. So we'll plug in each of the numbers where we see them fit. So we've got 2 times pi, again, we'll use 3.14. And then times radius squared, the radius is 8. Plus 2 times pi, which is 3.14. Times the radius, which we said was 8, times the height, which is 15. Okay, now we'll square our 8 first. Okay, we want to do that before we multiply anything. So 8 times 8 again is 64. And then we've got 2 times 3.14 times 8 times 15. Okay, go ahead and multiply 2 times 3.14 times 64. You should get 401.992. Then our second product, when we multiply all those together, we should get 251.2. Okay, add them up. Your grand total for the surface area of the cylinder should be 653.12 centimeters squared. Okay, let's move on. Number 25, again, I'll get you started. Find the surface area of the cylinder. We know that that is the diameter. The radius is what I need for my formula. The radius is 5, and your height is 6. So same thing, we'll plug in all of our things that we know. We know pi is always 3.14. We know the radius is 5 squared, plus 2 times, again, pi is 3.14. Radius is 5, and height is 6. Okay, I'm going to leave you at that, and I want you to simplify the square first and then add them all together. Then you'll also finish number 26. Awesome job.